So after the doctor came in and he sat down with me and he told me that the best thing for us to do is amputation, I obviously cried. I called my mother immediately and I bawled on the phone with my mom. After I got off the phone with my mom, I cried so hard. I cried so hard I couldn't breathe, and I did that for a long time. I did it for a while, and then eventually, the only thing that I could verbalize is probably the question that everybody verbalizes: why me? And I said it out loud, and it's the only thing I could verbalize time and time and time again was why me? I screamed it in my room by myself. I said, why me? You know, like, I'm a good person. I strive to try to do good by people. You know, I try to make good decisions. I try to live my life as positively as possible. So why is it that this is happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? You know? And I was like, this isn't even my fault. I mean, all of this has happened to me because one person decided that it was safer to cross 4 lanes of traffic to try to make a right turn than to go to the next intersection and make a U-turn. I mean, because of something that they did and because of their unawareness, I'm the one whose life changes forever. You know? How is that fair? But I thought about it and I realized that I have to stop justifying and analyzing the things that happen to me. I have to learn to just roll with the punches, like just go with it, you know? Because the thing is that you can't sit here and go, well, what if? You know, you can't sit here and go, well, you know, how is this my karma? What did I do to deserve this karma? You can't sit here and you can't argue about how good things happen, I mean, bad things happen to good people. You can't argue with something like that. You know, because there is no that rhyme and there is no reason, and the only thing that you can do is trust that there is a divinity to a plan. And whether that be God's plan or whether that be the universe's plan, I mean, the thing is that you have to realize that everything that is given to you is a gift. A gift. And it's so hard for me to wrap my brain around that right now because as I'm sitting here and I'm about to lose my leg, I'm like, how is this a gift? How is something like that something that is something that I has been given to me out of love? You know? It's I can't wrap my brain around it, but you just have to realize that, like, whatever is dished to you, whatever is gifted to you, it's definitely not something that you can't handle. You can handle anything that is being thrown at you, because if you couldn't, it wouldn't have come your way. God will never give you more than you can handle. It just won't happen. He gives it to you because he knows that you can handle it, that you can grow from it, that something in your life needs to click, and this is where you need to go to get to further places in your life. You know? And it's hard to not take a look at your life and realize and go, why is all this bad shit happening to me? Why is all this nasty stuff happening to me? I mean, it's hard for me to take a look at my life and realize that I lost my father in a car accident 7 years ago on his 50th birthday while I was driving and leaving home to move to California again. That's something that was really traumatic to me, and I thought about it for a long time, and I tried to justify why it happened to me. You know, it's hard to justify the fact that the motorcycle that I was riding just now for the accident that I just had is the motorcycle that was gifted to me after my father died. So it is the only thing that I have that represents my father. And now it was just in an accident and slammed by a careless person driving a van. And now I don't know where it is. I don't know what condition it's in. I don't know if it's drivable. I don't know if it's completely gone, you know? A couple of months ago, I was rear-ended in traffic because someone was texting and wasn't aware that I stopped. And it totaled my car. You know, that happened to me a couple of months ago, you know? And it's like I was dating someone and that person decided that apparently after a year and a half that they didn't like my shortcomings and it wasn't worth them sticking around. They just basically said, well, these are the things that I don't like about you and I really don't want to fix it. It's not worth it to me. And I thought this person was the one that I wanted to marry. And just up and left. You know? It's like, I've got to stop trying to control of the falling pieces of my life. And you've got to stop trying to grasp at these straws and grasp and try to control and put everything together. And you've just got to stop looking at Susie and taking a look at Susie's life and how she has a pension and she has never gone through any hardships. And any given Saturday, she gets to go out and go shopping and spend thousands and thousands of dollars. You have to stop looking at that, because at the end of the day, Susie's life at 90 is going to be boring. Because that's all that she could handle. God said, here, this is about all I can give you. You know? So don't think that because your life is falling apart and your life is complicated, that you can sit there and judge other people's lives, because you just have to focus on you. And you have to focus on the fact that what is being gifted to you is gifted to you for a reason. And just because you can't see the reasoning right now, it doesn't mean that it's not going to be there. You know, you've got to be able to stop trying to grasp at everything that's falling off, because you don't realize that the pieces that are falling off are a part of a stone piece that's going to be beautiful when it's done. But you're trying to keep your wall together, but you don't know that at the end of it, it is going to be a beautiful stone wall mural, but you got to take pieces out of it first. And you can't see the big picture. You can't see the forest of the trees. So let those pieces fall. Let those useless pieces of information fall, because at the end of it, you are going to end up with something that's incredibly beautiful. Incredibly beautiful. You know, it's like you just have to, like, you've got to stop fighting this life, and you've got to stop everything that's going on, and it's like you just can't sit there and focus on it, you know. And everything in this life is going to boil down to decisions. There's nothing in this life that you can't handle, and anything that's given before you is something that you can look at and you can go, okay, you know what? So this is my problem. My solutions are easy. Yeah, you have to be able to disconnect from it emotionally sometimes, because, yeah, the problem is that if someone is on, life support, and they're telling you, you have to pull the plug, or you have to not pull the plug. I mean, yes, you definitely don't want to pull the plug, but if someone's suffering and someone needs to go, then it's their time to go. You have to be able to make the decision to let them go, But everything in this life is easy. The decisions that are in front of you are easy. Making the decisions is what's hard. But you have to be able to strip down all of your decisions and let go of the weight and all of the jealousy and all the ego and everything like that. And you have to be able to look at it and you have to go, okay, this is the breakthrough. This is where my bend is, And I say that because you can either have a problem making, you can either bend and roll with it, or you can let that decision completely break you. If you take a piece of copper wire and you leave it straight, yes, it's a very straight copper wire, but that's all it will be. If you break it off, great, you still end up with a straight piece, it's just a little shorter. But the thing is that if you end up with a copper wire and life gives you lemons and you're trying to make lemonade and you're like, okay, well, all right, left turn here, okay? And then you end up bending it a little bit, and then you end up bending it a little more, and sometimes you got to roll with the punches, so you end up with a corkscrew. And at the end of it all, you're ending up with a 3D representation of a work of art that is your life, because you chose not to have something break. There is no end to it. You're basically still just feeling, and you're going and you're moving around, and it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of art. But you have to let it bend, and you have to let it turn, and you have to let it roll, and you cannot let it break you. So I'm sitting here and I'm going, okay, what if? Why me? Why is all of this happening to me? But you know what? At the end of the day, the reason why I'm end up being able to be courageous and why I end up, trying to be strong and trying to make sense of this life is because I stopped trying to make sense of it. I stopped trying to grab the pieces that were falling, and I said, you know what? Let it fall off of me. I have no idea what this life is going to hold for me. I have no idea what my future is going to entail. I do know that in a couple of days I will end up without my left foot. Do I know what my life is going to be like after that? I do not, but I do know that I refuse to let it break me. I refused to let the why me's completely consume my life and cause worry. So I have the decision to let it bend. I have the decision to bend, or I have the decision to break. And I'm not giving up. And losing my left leg, I'm not done. So why me? Maybe one day I'll figure it out. Maybe one day I'll stand and go, oh yeah, maybe that's why. That's why, right there. But just because I don't see it today doesn't mean I still don't have a decision to make. I've got to let go of the ego and the pity. And I've got to trust that God has a plan. And I will be standing at the end of it.